My name is Jose Cabal, and this is my CCR for ACE Media Studies. Question 1. How does your product use 4 challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? For my media project, I created a 4-page travel magazine spread focused on Barcelona. My product heavily utilizes the established conventions of the travel and lifestyle magazine genre to create an authentic feel. On the cover, I used a clear, stylized masthead, Barcelona Travel, positioned at the top, paired with the engaging cover lines like sights to see and plan your dream trip. I used the dominant central hero image of the Torre Glorias, framed organically by the trees, which immediately establishes a sense of place and draws the reader's eye. Inside the magazine, I adhered to layout conventions such as a structured table of contents with visual thumbnails, clear page numbering, and distinct article sections. However, I also challenged some traditional conventions. Instead of dense, multi-column blocks of text typical of National Geographic or Travel Plus Leisure, I opted for a highly minimalist, modern, almost design-like aesthetic. I used large, varied typography, mixing an elegant script font for the headers with a readable serif font for the body, and utilized asymmetrical photo placements to make the pages feel more dynamic and scrapbook-like. In terms of representation, my magazine represents the modern cultural traveler, a social group that values a blend of deep historical heritage and contemporary lifestyle by juxtaposing images of Antoni Gaudi's ancient, awe-inspiring Sagrada Family with a sleek, high-tech, bullet-shaped Torre Glorias. I represent Barcelona, not just as a historical relic, but as a vibrant, living and evolving society. It frames the Spanish culture as welcoming, warm, and rich in culinary and architectural history. Question 2. How does your product engage with audiences, and how would it be distributed as a real media text? My magazine engages its target audience, young adults, vacationers, and culturally curious travelers, through a direct and enthusiastic mode of address. The language used in the copy is highly inviting, using phrases like brace yourself for that 12-hour-long all flight. But you know that payoff is absolutely worth it, jet lag. This conversational tone breaks the fourth wall and makes the reader feel like they are getting advice from a well-traveled friend. Visually, the bright color palette of warm oranges, reds, and crisp whites evokes the sunny Mediterranean climate, instantly appealing to those seeking an escape. If this were a real media text, it would utilize a hybrid distribution model. Physically, it would be printed on high-quality glossy paper and distributed in targeted high-traffic travel hubs, VIP airport lounges, international flight seatbacks, boutique European hotels, and travel agencies. Digitally, which is where the modern traveler consumes most of their media, it would be distributed via digital magazine apps like Apple News, Izu, or Zenio. Furthermore, individual pages and articles would be reformatted as carousels for platforms like Instagram and Pinterest, allowing audiences to swipe through the table of contents or the places to visit section, effectively using social media as a funnel to drive downloads of the full digital PDF. Question 3. How did your production skills develop throughout this project? Throughout the creation of the magazine, my production skills developed significantly across photography, layout design, and typography. Initially, I had to hone my visual composition skills. For instance, with the original photograph of the Torre Glorias, I had to understand framing, using the natural leading lines of the street and the surrounding trees to draw the viewer's eye directly to the skyscraper, ensuring the lighting captures the reflections on its glass facade. In post-production, my layout and graphic design skills improved immensely. I had to learn how to create visual hierarchy. You can see this in my introduction and places to visit pages, where I learned how to balance image to text ratios so the page wouldn't feel overwhelming. I also developed my skills in color theory. I purposefully pulled the red and yellow orange hues from the graphic of the Spanish flag and used those exact hex codes as the background colors for the sidebars and text boxes. This created a cohesive, branded color palette across all 4 pages. Finally, I learned how to effectively pair typography, matching a decorative cursive font for aesthetic headers with a highly legible, standard font for the dense informational paragraphs. And last, for question 4, how did you integrate technologies, software, hardware, and online in this project? This project requires the seamless integration of various hardware, software, and online technologies. For hardware, I used my iPhone 13 to capture original high-resolution photography of the landmarks. The digital files were then transferred to my MacBook Air, which served as my main hardware for the design progress. For software, I utilized Canva and Adobe InDesign and Photoshop to construct the actual magazine layouts. This software allowed me to manipulate digital assets, layer text over images, create structured grids for my table of contents, and align my text boxes perfectly. Online technologies were also crucial to my workflow. I used cloud storage like Google Drive to organize my assets and images. Additionally, I utilized AI as an online tool to assist with copywriting and formatting. By prompting AI with specific parameters about the length, tone, and factual history of Barcelona landmarks, I was able to generate high-quality, magazine-ready text. This innovative integration of AI allowed me to act as an art director and editor-in-chief, curating the information and focusing my energy heavily on the visual graphic design and aesthetic output of the magazine. That is it for my CCR. Thank you for watching.